welcome to a new reading vlog. I am doing as I promised, and I'm going to do a reading vlog full of new and upcoming horror releases. We're going to see how many I can get through in the next week. We are at the start of a heat wave, so obviously my plans for the next week is to lay in bed next to the air conditioning and not go outside as much as possible. I do have a crazy busy work week, but my evenings and my weekend are totally free, so I'm excited to dive in. But let's chat quickly about some of the books that I hope to get to. First up though, I want to talk about The Pallbearers Club by Paul Tremblay. This is his newest release, and I actually just finished this one. It was so unique, not only in the horror genre, but also to Paul Tremblay's books. Like, this is nothing like what he's written before, and it took me a little bit to kind of get into the groove of it, but ultimately the ending really cemented the 5 out of 5 for me. No spoilers whatsoever. I feel like you really need to go into this book knowing not much at all, except that there's some kind of like vampire-y vibes, and it's set kind of from the 80s to like the past couple of years and spans the life of our main character. And it's written in a really unique way where we have the main character who's writing this book as if it's a memoir, and then one of his friends is actually annotating as you read through. Like, I have my own annotations, but this is part of the story as well, and I just thought that was really cool, and it's a lot of fun to read the annotations and then to annotate on top of the annotations, so definitely recommend. Currently I am reading and enjoying Ricky's Hand, which is probably out by the time this gets posted, because I think this is on shelves August 9th, and I'm not sure when this will get posted, but this was sent to me by the publisher, and I greatly appreciate it as always. And I was a little hesitant going in because it sounds like the main character is kind of a Charles Bukowski, Chuck Palahniuk main character, where you're either gonna like hate him but you enjoy hating him, or he's gonna really irritate you and it's gonna be really hard to read. But I will say Ricky is starting to win me over. He may be a bit of a sleazebag and probably not the healthiest individual, but he's coming around, and I really appreciate it. So this is a really unique and fascinating premise of a book. Basically, Ricky, our main character, he's a paparazzi and basically spends his day following celebrities around and taking photos of them for money. So it's not the most honest work, but he's doing what he can to survive. And one morning he wakes up and his hand is not his hand. So he still has a hand, but it's as if someone else's hand has been put in place of his hand. His other hand is fine, but this hand is someone else's hand, and it is just pure chaos from there on out. It's really funny. I'm just under halfway through, so I don't have too much to share just yet, but yeah, it's funny. It's like just such a unique concept. And now I'm just desperate to know how this happens, because in the first couple of chapters, he basically finds like a help group of people who have experienced what he has experienced. Like, there's a guy who woke up and his ear has been replaced with someone else's ear, and someone's leg has been replaced with someone else's leg. So this is happening to other people, but we don't know why yet, so it's pretty fun. Now, obviously, I'm not gonna get through all 4 of these in the next week, but these are some of the books on my upcoming TBR that I want to get to as soon as possible. First one is the new Ronald Mouthy book, Black Mouth. Gorgeous cover, big Mouthy fan, excited to dive in. And then this is the new Ruth Ware novel, The It Girl. I have read all of Ruth Ware's novels, and I have rated all of them except for one a 5 out of 5. She is very much one of my favorite authors, and I cannot wait to dive into this one and see if it will also be a 5 out of 5. And then I have the new Junji Ito, and again, check out that cover. It's so beautiful. And this will be a quick read because it's a manga and it's not that long. And then lastly is an arc that comes out at the beginning of September. I actually think I have like 4 or 5 arcs that are coming out in September, so I would like to get a head start so that I'm not spending like the last week of August panicking reading arcs. I'd rather take my time and enjoy them. So the one that comes out the soonest is the new Darcy Coates Gallow Hill, and that comes out September 6th. So I definitely want to read that first. So yeah, here's my possibles. Here's what I'm currently reading, and I will check back in with you guys once I've done a little bit more reading, and we'll see what happens next in this book. Check-in, because you would have seen a few things, including fireworks and an air show and a candy store visit. So here in Vancouver we have what's called the Celebration of Lights, where over a week in August we have 3 countries that compete in a fireworks competition. Obviously we haven't been able to have that since 2019, but this year it came back for the first time. So the one you just saw was Japan, and during the Celebration of Lights they also do an air show where you get to see stunt planes and stuff. So that's what the airplane footage is. It was the snowbirds that flew by, and then a Red Bull stunt plane that does all these really cool things. It was really great because we got to watch the air show from the balcony of our apartment. We can't quite see the fireworks from our balcony because of the angle, so we did go walk a little bit closer to the beach to go watch that. And then the candy store, obviously one of my favorite places ever, is any candy store, and they just opened a brand new one on Granville Street, and it's supposedly going to have the best selection of candy in BC and be one of the biggest stores. So I went to have a little visit today, bought a bunch of yummy snacks. I will say it was not as impressive as I thought it was going to be. We actually have another candy store on Robson Street, and it seemed very similar to that. I think the major difference is this one on Granville is very much like more focused on imported snacks like chips and beverages and cereal and stuff, not really just the pure candy focus. But definitely will go back. Got kind of overwhelmed with all the options. So I think, yeah, I'll probably, who am I kidding? I'll be there like every week. It's a candy store within a 10-minute walk of my work. And then I got some fun book mail from one of my fave publishers, Tor. They sent me a finished copy of The Book Eaters, and it was very kind of them because this is not an arc to be reviewed. This is just a completed copy of this book for me to enjoy for myself. And I thought that was really sweet of them. Thank you. And this is sort of like a weird speculative fantasy book that's coming out soon. So this comes out August 2nd. So this will probably be out by the time you see this video. but you know, go get it if you want. Basically, the premise is, out on the Yorkshire moors lives a secret line of people for whom books are food, and who retain all of a book's content after eating it. To them, spy novels are a peppery snack. Romance novels are sweet and delicious. Eating a map can help them remember destinations, and children, when they misbehave, are forced to eat dry, musty pages from dictionaries. Devon is part of the family, an old and reclusive clan of book eaters. Her brothers grew up feasting on stories of valor and adventure, and Devon, like all book eater women, was raised on a carefully curated diet of fairy tales and cautionary stories. But real life doesn't always come with happy endings, as Devon learns when her son is born with a rare and darker kind of hunger, not for books, but for human minds. Sounds pretty freaking awesome. Definitely darker fantasy, probably a bit of horror in there, which is why they're sending it to me. This was a book I was really looking forward to this year, and it was actually on my list to go buy next week, so now I don't have to. Thank you, Tor. And then one quick reading update, because I am so close to finishing Ricky's Hands, and it is, again, still so unique. I have not read anything like this before. It has taken a very interesting sci-fi turn, and yeah, I don't really know what's gonna happen. And I will admit, my only critique is that I'm finding the sci-fi element of it quite confusing, but I'm not really the best judge of that, because I actually find most sci-fi really hard to get my mind around. So if you are a sci-fi fan, this probably will not be a problem for you. Kind of hoping that by the end of the book it will be a little bit clearer, but honestly, it's not taking away from my enjoyment of reading the book. I don't really need to understand the technical dynamics of what's going on, because the characters are just so much fun, and it is a really fast-paced read. Like, I've barely had time to read this week, and I'm almost done. I mean, I've got like 40 pages left. So I'm gonna try and maybe finish this tonight, but if not, it'll definitely be finished tomorrow, and then I'll let you guys know what I think. time to wrap up the reading vlog. I have read 3 books this week. First up is, of course, Ricky's Hand, which I finished and absolutely loved. It is so funny and it's so unique, and I highly recommend it. If you're a big horror comedy fan, this is definitely the book for you. I also read the new Junji Ito, and there is 4 stories in here. I think my favorite one is one that's set in the suicide forest. The spirit flow of Aokigahara. Loved that one. They were all really good. Lastly, I read and finished the new Ruth Ware, The It Girl. This is obviously a mystery thriller, and it's very much dark academia vibes, which is always a fan favorite. This jumps between a group of friends when they were in Oxford University and a group of friends now 10 years later. During their time at Oxford University, one of the friends in the group was murdered, and her roommate and best friend and our narrator, Hannah, is the one who basically pointed out who the killer is, and he has been sent to jail for life. And our book opens with him dying in prison, which sets off a lot of journalists kind of doing, 10 years later, let's look back, now the killer's dead, what do we know? And one of them reaches out to Hannah and makes her question if she really did point the finger at the right guy, and if in fact the killer was someone else entirely, and possibly even someone that she knew. I will say it is very much a Ruth Ware novel. Everything you expect from her, you're gonna get here. Solid 5 out of 5 for me. I did appreciate that it's longer than most of her books. Gives us a lot of time to really immerse ourselves in the dark academia vibes, but also really get to know the friend group. That didn't help me figure out the suspect. But it never does. I never figure it out. So yeah, I can't tell you if the twist is good or not. It was great for me, but as you know, I am terrible at predicting twists. So yes, 5 out of 5 for me. Another Ruth Ware to add to the pile of her 5 out of 5 books. So yeah, pretty good week. All of these are 5 out of 5. So can't complain there at all. So thank you guys for watching. Let me know if you've read any of these new releases, or if you have any new releases in the horror genre that you can recommend to me. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video.